This is exercise 11 from the DraftSight class at hackerlab.org. This is in case we didn't have time to finish in the Hacker Lab, so you can come to this video and follow along here. So the idea is to build a box, in this case a cube, with box joints, otherwise known as finger joints. So you would start out by drawing 3 rectangles. This would be the bottom dimensions, front and back, and side dimensions. Instead of drawing those rectangles, I'm just going to speed up here and just copy them from here to here. Okay, and I'll get rid of the text. I don't need that. So the next step is create a layer called boxing and then move these rectangles into it. The layer color should be blue by default. So I go to layer management, new layer, boxing, default line color blue, hit OK, and I'm just going to take these and move them into the boxing layer. Hit escape to unselect those. So I'm still working in layer 0. However, these pieces are in the boxing layer. Now, let's move over to the next step. We want to add thickness to all these rectangles to represent the thickness of our wood. So in the instructions it says 0.24 inch. So we're going to use this command right here, the offset command. So I will offset all 4 of these, hit the offset command. It's asking for a distance to offset. I'll type in 0.24, hit the enter key, and now it just asks us what do we want to offset. This rectangle, which side do we want to offset? The outside, so it gets bigger. Do the same, do the same. Okay, it takes care of that step. Hit escape to stop. Once again, move over. This step is explode all the panels, convert them from polylines into lines, and then divide the bottom panel by 9 in the X direction and 7 in the Y direction. This is what it's going to look like. Okay, so we come over here. We need to convert these from polylines to lines, so I'll hit explode so we can operate with them one line at a time. I'll take this line, and I have a button here for dividing. I added that myself, so you may not have it, so I'll use the command line divide. Just type her in, and since we already had the line selected, it's jumping ahead to specify the number of segments. Enter 9 from the keyboard, and I got my points. Do it again for this line. Divide, number of divisions 7. We always use odd numbers in making box joints. So now I'm going to start copying these around. So it's important to note that in the settings panel we have to be set up like this to follow this exercise. Right click on this button and you'll get this little dialog box. We want ends, midpoints, nodes, and perpendiculars only. Alright, so let's copy these points from here down to here. So it ends up looking like this. In fact, let me just scoot over one, because we're on this step now. So this is pretty easy with those snaps. So I left drag to select only things inside the drag box. I'll say move from the node or the point to its perpendicular moving down. Apparently I just did a move instead of a copy. So I'll just, from here, I'll say copy, which is what I really wanted to do, from the node up to here. Okay. Now, same thing for these. Copy from here to its perpendicular. And we got it. So we look just like this. Now, let's move over to the next step. All we want to do in this step is use the polyline command to draw this line and this line. Two polylines so that we can operate on them as one line going horizontally and one going vertically. So, start point. One thing I like about DraftSight is the ability to zoom and pan while in the middle of a command. So move is press the middle mouse button down and drag the mouse, and zoom is hit enter to finish that. Zoom is just rolling the middle mouse button. So we use the same middle button for panning and zooming, which I kind of like. Now draw the next polyline. Hit the enter key on the keyboard, or just use the right mouse context menu to select enter through the mouse. That concludes that step. Now we go on to the next one. Okay. This one we're going to mirror this line down to here and this line over to here, and we're going to copy these lines over to here and these lines up to here. So we got a few things to do here. So let's start with the mirror command. Mirror, and then from this midpoint I'll just hit ortho. It's a little faster sometimes. It's asking me, do I want to delete the source? Default is no, so I just hit enter on the keyboard and do the same thing with this line. Got it. Now the copies. So let's take a look at how we want these copied. We want the beginning of this line to be on the outer and edge on the x-axis and on the inside on the y-axis. So let's one last look here. So we start on up, down, up, down. Okay. Copy. I'm going to pick it up from here. And turn ortho off. I'm going to copy to this corner, and I have to actually scooch it in a little bit now. So I could use the move command and move it 0.24 inches, but the way I have all my snaps set up, I can also do this, which I think is faster. Just grab the line, move it to its perpendicular. Now I could copy the other one over here or just mirror this one. So I think I'll just do the mirror. It seems faster. To use orthogonal very quickly, I can hold down the shift key and put it in that way. Okay, so now a quick check shows that this does look like this. Now we have to put these lines in here. So I'll take this one, copy from here to here, and I have to scooch it in. I'll use the same technique. Okay. And to put it on this side, I'll just do another mirror. It seems pretty easy. Shift key, enter. Alright, so then we now completed that step. Let's move over to the right. We want to take this line here and divide it by 5. So I think this time, just this one time, I'll use this button. Select the entity, number of segments 5. There we go. Copy them up. And then that concludes that step. Let's move over to the right. Now let's put in our polylines. go from here to here to here to here. Use this to trim. Enter to finish the command. I'm going to mirror it down. I'll just use mirror here. Shift key, there we go. Hit enter on the keyboard or do it this way. One more trim. Hit enter or escape to finish, and so we have that. Now we have to copy this line and this line into here and here. So I'll just take this one line, copy. This would be the z-axis on the box. I'm going to rotate him from here, shift key, to here, and let's move him into place. Got it. And we can just mirror him over. Seems to be the quickest way to go. Shift key, hit the enter key, and got it. So now we look here just like we do in this exercise. So we can scoot over for the final step. Come over to here. What we want to do is remove all the blue lines. There's 24 of them, so instead of deleting them one at a time, I'm just going to use layer management. I'm going to go to the activate the boxing layer and freeze the layer 0. Delete all these lines at once. Go back with layer management and set this as my active layer. Oh, it's frozen. I got to unfreeze it first. Come back. So that was just simply a quicker way of deleting the lines. Now before we want to cut these, we're probably going to need to move them around a little bit to fit our wood or whatever. So let's just group these to make them easier to move around. So we'll use the insert tab, define a block. I'll name this front dash back. Give it a base point, something convenient. Okay, and there's a block. So the whole thing selects when I hover over it. Let's do the top and bottom block. Define block, top dash bottom. If I don't select the base point, it will be 0, 0, which will be pretty far from the actual graphics. And you might actually not even see the grabber. So always define your base point. And finally, our left and right. Define block, left, right. Select our base point. I'll pick this right here, hit OK. And so now we're pretty close to done. All we need to do is a quick check to see that everything fits. So to do that, I'm going to move from here to here, and all these joints should line up perfectly. And from here to here, move. All these joints should line up perfectly. And there's one more test where we take this joint and rotate him 90 degrees. And see that he also fits. So move here to here, and we have yet another good fit. So when all this folds up, it should be perfect. And that concludes exercise 11.